Hi, this is Chris from the Stephanie Miller Show. Please enjoy this exclusive clip from Political Voices Network.
Malcolm, did you happen to see Rachel's show on Monday? I mean, I thought of you because obviously, you wrote the book before the 2016 election. You must be having an acid flashback that we're talking about Manafort being back in charge, that Donald Trump needs, is it $454 million by Monday? I don't know. Would you like to take a wild guess whether that's going to come from Russia? I mean,
well, that's what.
Go ahead.
That was Manafort's job. Manafort was a fixer and facilitator in the pro-Moscow Ukrainian government, the same government that massacred its own civilians when they had the Orange Revolution in 2014. This guy is a direct link to Moscow, and they convicted him for taking all of this. I believe it was $72 million under the table, where he had not reported any of it, and then Donald Trump pardoned him for it.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm usually the mindset that they are willing to do anything, use anybody to win this election. And if $500 million of KGB money comes falling from the sky, that means that we now know that he is completely, now we can see the links. But at least it's not his son in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. I mean, well, you retweeted, somebody said Trump owes this money because he fraudulently misrepresented the value of his assets. And now, oops, apparently no one will accept those assets as collateral.
Absolutely.
Well, as you write in all your books, what makes you I don't even know what the term is, asset, willing, useful idiot, whatever is being financially compromised. And now here it is, times 11 billion right out in public, right?
Yeah, well, he was financially compromised before, and he was personally compromised. But now here he is. He's hat in hand all around the world. That tweet is not wrong. He's earning, I believe he's having to accrue $114,000 per day in accrued interest. So he really, to get that bond, owes $500 million.
Yeah.
No one will loan it to him. And his lie that Mar-a-Lago was worth $1.2 billion, no one is going to loan it against the fake assets that he has.
Yeah, and nothing he says is an accident. Malcolm, from telling his buddy Viktor Orban he won't give Ukraine a penny if he gets back in, to him, lining up with Putin's story a few days ago about Navalny. Trump's like, I can't say what happened. Don't know. Putin, same thing. Don't know. Stuff happens in prison. Don't know what happened. I mean, it's just, it's extraordinary. We find ourselves here in America in 2024. I don't know if you saw this a few days ago. Putin has revealed an apparently previously unreported conversation with Trump in which he claims Trump let his jealousy of Joe Biden get the best of him in 2020. I mean, Putin is just toying, even with Trump now. In an interview with state-controlled media, Putin appeared to suppress a smirk as he recalled the curious conversation when asked if expressing a preference for Biden to win in the 2024 vote could be seen as meddling in U.S. elections, reiterating Moscow's oft-repeated claim the Kremlin's not interfering in American elections in any way. Putin said that Trump, in the last year of his work as president, admonished me for the fact that I like Biden. I mean, this is like him putting out his own disinformation. It's like, oh, sure, you're for Biden. Anyway, he said this was more than 4 years ago. He told me in one conversation, you want him to win. Excuse me, I'll say it like he did, direct speech for Sleepy Joe to win. He told me this when he was still president. He said he was acting like a jealous girlfriend. I mean, Putin is just laughing his ass off, humiliating all of us, right?
Yeah, America plot to destroy democracy. You can still get on
Oh boy.
Into
Malcolm, you're
a junior TV officer. I literally sat whoops.
No, go ahead.
Did
Sorry.
I lose you?
Yeah,
okay.
no, go ahead. You're breaking up.
This is what happens when the KGB, starts blocking.
Yeah,
there
exactly.
But I literally sat in Putin's desk. All right, there you go. I literally sat in Putin's desk in his office in Dresden, Germany. He is a manipulator. He understands what Trump will be upset by. He double checks it against the FSB's intelligence psychologist, and then he says it, and he knows how Trump will act, like a jealous girlfriend. And he will sell America out to get that hot Putin love.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Let's talk about, especially in the wake of his enormous debt and us not knowing where he might get the money from. Joe from Jurors, our friend, said the documents case is so incredibly consequential. The American people need to know what Donald Trump took, what he did with it, and who else saw it. Our national security literally depends on it. Judge Cannon needs to go. I've always said this is, to me, the most serious. Of the cases, particularly given all the recent news and his debt, don't you think?
But let me tell you, Judge Cannon, I swear to God, she is just hell bent to help Donald Trump. This is what we were worried about. They smell not a Trump victory, but Trump eking through this election, and that she will be on the next Supreme Court now.
Yeah. Yeah. No, exactly. By the way, I just have to refer.
It hinges.
So sorry, Malcolm. You're cutting in and out. Go ahead.
All right. I said this case is lethal against Donald Trump.
Yes.
Lethal.
Yeah.
It hinges on one thing. Did you take the documents or not? Yes. Done.
Yep. And by the way, can I just let me refer to your latest book, They Want to Kill Americans? With his bloodbath comments, you retweeted someone that said traitors attempting to desensitize the word bloodbath do not fall for it. And that is what they are. He is a traitor. And you just, it is this whole like, oh, it was in context. Really? The guy that, again, read They Want to Kill Americans. Malcolm was out there first as usual, right?
Yeah, good God. He means it when he says these things. His followers say this to him. His supporters say this to him. They want civil war, and they will. You see all these Meal Team 6 fat guys posing with guns.
Yep.
They're serious about what they're going to do. And anyone who is a single issue voter who says, I'm going to vote against Joe Biden or not vote, this is what you're voting for. Possible civil war.
Yeah. Yeah. And by the way, I just mentioned, but, on the other side, Jared Kushner is under fire for calling Gaza waterfront property valuable. I mean, this is who you want in charge if you care about the Palestinian people. He basically called for ethnic cleansing, is what it sounded like. He said Gaza's waterfront property could be very valuable. It's a little bit of an unfortunate situation there. Oy. But from Israel's perspective, I would do my best to move the people out and then clean it up.
Wow.
I mean,
see,
really?
That's not sort of ethnic cleansing. That's an open call for ethnic cleansing. All right. I was within a kilometer of that place on two sides, just within the last month. Look, this is what Trump will get. He will enable Netanyahu to do horrible things even Israelis would be abhorred by. But the right-wing extremist government of Netanyahu would have full U.S. backing to making 2.2 million people walk out of there so Jared Kushner can get beachfront property and get development money from Qatar and Saudi Arabia.
Yep.
Don't doubt that this won't happen. It can get a lot worse.
Obviously, as you know, we're in a critical space for Ukraine. And I had to get your take. We mentioned this earlier, but 9 congressional Republicans voted against a resolution condemning the abduction of Ukrainian children by Russian forces. Thousands of children have been kidnapped, as you know, since Russia invaded. Of course, all the usual suspects / insurrectionists, Andy Biggs, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Clay Higgins, Thomas Massey, Chip Roy, all voted against. I mean, which means they're for the kidnapping of Ukrainian children.
Yes, that's exactly right. I mean, you have the Russian pedophile caucus. You may as well call them at this point. I mean, thousands of Ukrainian children, including some from orphanages in Kherson, Mariupol, Melitopol, were taken hostage and, taken back to Russia and then started distributing them out sort of like candy and favors to people in Putin's party, including the minister who is responsible for orphans, took Ukrainian kids and quote unquote adopted them into her own home. As a matter of fact, the International Criminal Court, there's a case against her for doing this. But we have American citizens literally in this country right now who are so beholden to Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump that they would vote against reuniting kids to their parents, because many of these were taken from their parents who are now in concentration camps
Yeah.
or re-education camps, as Russia calls them.
But Malcolm, I mean, more importantly, you've got Putin saying out loud now, why would I do peace negotiations? They're running out of ammunition. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, and obviously experts are saying the war, you know, the war is turning in Russia's favor. And I still can't believe we're going to let this happen.
Well, let me be one of the experts that says that the war is not turning in Russia's favor. It's just that right now, Ukraine has lost the initiative of carrying out offensive operations against Russia. They're having to set up hasty defensive positions. Russia doesn't care about the men they send. They just lost 30,000 men dead to take a small town that I went to in February, 10 days before the invasion, called Avdiivka, which should have fallen in 2014. That it didn't is just an absolute miracle. But they threw 30,000 men at that line. What we don't have with the artillery shells is the capacity to smash Russian lines, to attack Russian artillery. But, you know, of course, this is all a component of Vladimir Putin understanding what is happening here. He made deep investments into Donald Trump. He made deep investments into the Republican Party.
Yeah.
And they are acting straight up as Moscow's enablers. He owns the Speaker of the House of the United States. And so he knows he's winning America, which means it's killing Ukrainians.